Greetings, mortals! This is Wizard Prang here with a video about the Noctis. Is it a useful ship or a steaming pile of you-know-what? Stick around and find out. The Noctis is a unique ship in EVE Echoes. It is designed for salvaging loot. Before going any further, a quick word on terms might be in order. In EVE Online, salvaging and looting are two different things, but here in EVE Echoes, they mean the same thing, to wit, loot collection. So I will be using the terms interchangeably in this video. Now any ship can salvage loot, but before the Noctis came along this was normally done manually, usually by a small, nimble ship that could scoot around the debris field grabbing stuff. The preferred salvaging tool of choice was a covert ops frigate, from which you could salvage loot up to 10 kilometers away. And then came the Noctis, purpose-built for salvaging, or looting if you prefer. One of its bonuses was improved range on the newly introduced auto-salvager modules. These are mid-slot modules which, when activated, automatically reach out and grab the nearest loot item within range. They don't pick up player debris or loot boxes, you still have to grab those yourself. Salvagers can be equipped on any ship, which allows ships to loot as they brawl, but the range is restricted to the standard range of 10 kilometers. The Noctis is the first and so far only ship that has a built-in buff to auto-salvaging range. In addition, there is a whole new skill, auto-salvage technology, which improves your looting range when using auto-salvagers. More on that later. Now, auto-salvagers are a pretty neat idea, but they're still stupidly expensive 3 months after they came out. And by stupidly expensive, I mean that the modules cost twice as much as the ship that they're mounted on, while the looting range, although expanded, is still rather disappointing. At the time of the making of this video, the cheapest auto-salvagers were currently about 100 million each, and that's after coming down from the stratospheric heights of the next few months. So to properly kit out a Noctis means that you have to spend nearly $500 million on the salvagers alone. That was the first disappointment. The second was that NetEase, in their infinite wisdom, initially put the auto-salvaging skill chips behind a paywall. The chip was originally attainable only with AUR, the only one of the 17 currencies in the game that can only be purchased with cold, hard cash. Over the fullness of time, they took it out of the shop, and now the only place to get one of these things is on the market. And as you can see, they're not exactly cheap.
But wait, there's more.
There's not just one skill chip, but 3. Auto-salvage technology, advanced auto-salvage technology, and wait for it, expert auto-salvage technology. All to expedite the process of collecting garbage. To quote Dr. Robert Lustig, "Are you joking me?" The Noctis has 5 mid-slots, which means that it can equip up to 5 auto-salvagers, which makes for extremely fast looting, or salvaging, or whatever. Let's have a look at the ship card, which for some obscure reason is now hidden behind the fitting screen. As you can see, the 2 skills required to use this ship well are both expert level skills: Expert Industrial Ship Defense Upgrade and Expert Industrial Ship Command. The final level of each of these skills takes 50 days to skill into, so from 554 to 555 for both is 100 days of skill points. Apparently, you now need a PhD in order to collect garbage. Make of that what you will. The hold, which starts off at 2,400 cubic meters and maxes out at 3,600, is nowhere near big enough. Not even close. The loot from a fleet rally point is far more than this ship can hold, and a capital ship quarry with its huge haul of capital modules is bigger still. With 5 auto-salvagers equipped, the hold will fill up in a matter of seconds, and then the only solution is to either run to a station to dump or jettison the loot and have a hauler pick it up, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a salvager in the first place. In my opinion, the hold on this thing should start at 5,000 at the very least. 10,000 would be better. Or perhaps there should be a large, dedicated hold for loot. Another mistake they made is that there's no provision for a covert ops cloak. Before the Noctis came out, I would use an Imicus covert ops to loot, and with a couple of auto-salvagers it does almost as good a job. What the Imicus lacks in looting range, it makes up for in maneuverability and speed. It's almost as if the management at NetEase, I can hardly blame the devs for doing what they were told, were faced with 2 questions. How can we improve the game and make it more enjoyable and playable so that people could invite their friends? Or, how can we extract the maximum amount of money in the minimum amount of time while offering the minimum amount of functionality? From the evidence, we can choose which question they chose to ask themselves. Bottom line, promised much, delivered little, spectacularly unimpressive, prohibitively expensive, and way too skill-intensive. I would say that NetEase owes the player base an apology, but I suspect that we would all die of old age waiting for one. Enough ranting. Here are my suggestions to rescue this botched attempt at making salvaging a thing. Number 1, add a covert ops cloak. Number 2, unlock the skill chips and make it like any other skill. We already have 1 skill behind a paywall, and that is enough. Number 3, make the hold big enough to handle the largest anomaly in the game, currently fleet rally points or capital ship quarries, for that is where this ship is most useful. And finally, change the required ship skills from expert to advanced. If you'll pardon me for repeating myself, you should not need to study for a PhD in order to collect the trash. I still have one. I keep it in high sec, where I equip it with 4 auto-salvagers and use it to clean up after T10 snipe ratting while the combat ships moves on to the next one. For the moment, it's a convenience, not a career. What do you think? Am I making sense? If so, like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, all that good stuff. If not, let me know why I'm wrong. I welcome the views of smart people who disagree with me.